You're watching the Livewell, presented by Mercury, exclusively on Bassmaster.com.
Hey, it's Livewell time. Welcome to the studio. I'm Tommy Sanders, of course, and we welcome to the studio the big man of bass fishing, I call him, our expert on all things bass fishing, and our frequent guest, Mark Zona. And we went to your old stomping grounds last week. People watched it on ESPN on Sunday. And the All-Star Week, the Evan Williams Bourbon Championship, 14 guys there, tooling around in Muskegon Lake, a super popular tournament destination, a great fishing destination. Tell us your opinion on how it showed for us.
Well, I think if you're to look through all the footage right now, here's to me, the dynamic that went on at that event right now. If you're to let's go through all the different techniques, whether it's Ike Anelli, Aaron Martins, Kevin Van Dam, all of them, Hank Cherry. If you really look at it, it was extremely random. Throw Cliff Pace in there right now. There was guys that were flipping, there's guys that were cranking, there's guys throwing top waters, guys throwing swim baits. And that's really, if you were to talk to the pros that were in that event, all of them will tell you the hardest time of year to pattern fish, bigger fish, is the fall transition, summer to fall. Well, it just so happens All-Star Week on Muskegon nailed that transition. It nailed that transition. And here's the best way to put it, is you have grass dying off, your water is starting to cool, and there's fish in 5 inches of water, and there's fish in 30 feet of water. And the amazing dynamic that went on in this tournament, that'll go on really in every lake in the country throughout the next 2 months. You can throw anything in the box still and catch them, but it's very, very hard to stay with those bigger fish. And if you look at really the two guys that dominated the field in this, Van Dam and Hank Cherry, they were solely concentrating on fish that were focused on bait. Now, it's easier said than done. The reason why, they tend to act more pelagic. They act like saltwater fish. They're
moving always.
Their structure, their cover really is bait fish. And the bait fish are moving. And you know, we've all grown up reading this in Bassmaster magazine is, well, when you find the bait fish in the fall, you find the bass. Well, that's true and that's false. And the best way to put it is the guys that excelled on Muskegon and then went to White Lake and excelled, they were guys that were covering a lot of water until they found a school of bait fish and collided. And those two guys were Van Dam and Hank Cherry. And to wrap it up as a whole, this time of year, there really is no wrong. You can catch fish on everything, but to catch those bigger fish, keep covering water until you find bait and you find the sharks that are beneath them.
Great advice. That was what played out at All-Star Week.
Let me tell you something.
Okay, all right.
It's so easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely.
It really
Tough
is.
timing. When the water gets below room temperature, things really do change. The standard ambush points in places where they're pinned during the summer and the spring are no good anymore.
And those fish are going to go back to those ambush points in about a month and a half. But this time, and the other thing is, the other hard thing about really what Hank Cherry did, you're fishing the invisible. You really are. You're fishing the invisible. Your bait's not on the bottom where you can feel the stump. You're not dropping in a grass bed. The only thing really that's your friend is your electronics. And without those, Hank Cherry doesn't win this tournament. And the other side of it is, he's the best at the invisible.
A great job by Hank Cherry. Great job. Transition fishing lesson from Mark Zona here. We thank you, Z, so much. If you missed that show, there's going to be the last 2 hours of it, the 2 days of fishing on Muskegon and the final on White Lake coming up as a rerun. ESPN2, 5 to 7 a.m. Saturday the 19th, so set your VCR for that. And VCR. Or your
Did
TV.
you throw out a VCR?
I got a VCR. Nice. Okay, I'm going to return to 1989.
Your cable box.
Yeah. I'm headed back to 1989. I'll see you next time on the Livewell.